It took 121 seconds. A more than 30-year-long, almost spotless safety record erased within minutes as the Aerospatiale BAC Concorde crashed into a hotel just west of Charles de Gaulle Airport in Paris. But what exactly happened and during the time leading up to the flight? Using the final report, I will now tell you the story of the beginning of the end of the Concorde. Stay tuned. A huge thank you to CuriosityStream for sponsoring this video. Air France Flight 4590 was actually a charter flight. It was scheduled to fly from Charles de Gaulle Airport in Paris, France, over towards JFK International in New York, United States. Once they landed in New York, the passengers, who were mainly German but other nationalities as well, were supposed to get onto a cruise ship that would take them down to Ecuador in South America, making this probably a one-in-a-lifetime trip. There was 100 passengers scheduled for the flight and 6 cabin crew and 3 pilots. The aircraft being flown was the legendary Aerospatiale BAC Concorde, one of the most beautiful aircraft ever constructed and a feat of engineering. The Concorde first flew on the 2nd of March 1969, and during its more than 30-year tenure it had never suffered a fatal accident. There are a couple of things that you need to understand technically about the Concorde in order for this story to make sense. If we start with the wing design, we've all seen these beautiful pictures of the Concorde flying with their fantastic delta wing. Now, the reason that the engineers used a delta wing for the Concorde is because a delta wing will work well both in the subsonic, transonic and supersonic speed ranges. The issue with the delta wing though is that in order for it to provide enough lift for takeoff and landing, you need to have both a very high speed and also a quite high angle of attack. Just to give you an example, a Boeing 737 would generally take off at a speed of around 140 to 150 knots. The Concorde, on the other hand, needed about 200 knots. And this is really important because those type of speeds will put an enormous stress on the tires being used on the aircraft. In fact, the Concorde, during its 30 years of operation, had 57 tire bursts. 12 of those had caused structural issues with the aircraft as pieces of tire had been thrown up towards the underside of the wing. And in 6 cases, the wing tanks had actually been penetrated. The most serious of those incidents happened back in 1979, where a Concorde taking off from Washington in the United States had a tire burst during takeoff. Pieces of the tire penetrated the lower part of the wing and one of the wing tanks, causing a small fuel leak, and also it brought damages to the hydraulic system, making it impossible to retract the gear. After that incident, a major investigation was launched into the airworthiness of the Concorde, and a lot of recommendations were made, mainly towards strengthening of the tires being used and the protection of the hydraulic systems in the landing gear. But there was also some evaluations about the risk of fire. But the investigation team felt that the amount of fuel that could escape from a fuel leak caused by tire debris was relatively small, hence the risk of fire was very small as well. Another thing that you need to understand about the Concorde is that it has a quite complicated fuel system consisting of 13 tanks, 12 of which is housed in the wings and the body of the aircraft, and a 13th tank that is situated towards the very back of the body. And that tank is used as a trim tank, where the pilots can transfer fuel into or out of, depending on where they want the center of gravity of the aircraft to be, which is really important, especially during takeoff. The engines on the Concorde were 4 Olympus twin-spool turbojet engines that were situated towards the back of the delta wing, just outside and slightly behind the main landing gear. They had variable air intakes in order to be able to fly in supersonic flight, and they also had secondary air intakes on the lower side, slightly behind the main air intakes. And those air intakes are actually going to play a quite important role in this story. All of the 4 engines also were equipped with full reheat or afterburner capability, giving the aircraft a further 18% thrust to takeoff. The flight departed on the 25th of July 2000, and already from the start there were some problems. Originally, another Concorde was scheduled to do the flight, but they changed over to this individual during the night. And when the dispatcher started doing the planning for the flight, he realized that there was a technical issue with this Concorde, specifically to one of the thrust reversers. Now, it was not a problem that would keep the aircraft on the ground, but it had a performance penalty, and that performance penalty would potentially lead to a need for a fuel stop en route. On top of that, most of the passengers were German citizens, and they had flown in from Germany earlier. And there had been some kind of problem in the Air France system when it came to checking in both the passengers and the bags. So a lot of the passengers in the bag were actually not on the passenger manifest when the dispatcher started to the load sheet. He went with this information to the flight crew when they arrived, and the flight crew said that they would take care of the flight planning from that point. The way they did this was they contacted the engineering department at Air France, asked them if they could possibly fix the thrust reverser. They got a positive response on that, and then they proceeded with the pre-flight. Eventually, the passenger discrepancy was thought to be fixed, but they ended up with 19 more bags on board than what the load manifest showed, giving them a little bit more weight. Around 1400 UTC, so that's 1600 local time in Paris, the flight crew started to do their pre-flight inspections inside. Now, the crew flying consisted of a captain. It was a 54-year-old male with 13,477 hours in total time, of which 317 was on the Concorde. The captain was scheduled to be the pilot of flying for this flight, and pilot monitoring was going to be the first officer. He was a 50-year-old male with 10,035 hours and 2,698 hours on the Concorde, and he was also a simulator instructor on the Concorde. Joining them on the flight deck was also a very experienced flight engineer. He's 58 years old, male, with 12,532 hours of total time and 937 hours on the Concorde. So this was a very experienced flight crew, which was typical for the Air France Concorde crews, which was a very tight little group consisting of only about 30 pilots. As the flight crew starts preparing the aircraft for flight, the engineer comes back up to them, informing the captain that the thrust reverser is now fully functional, which means that they can upload as much fuel as they need in order to fly directly toward New York, and they settle on a final fuel figure of 95 tons. The crew starts discussing that this is going to bring the aircraft up to a weight which is very close to their maximum structural weight for departure. And when they do the calculation of their performance figures, they settle on a V1 speed of 150 knots, a V rotation speed of 198 knots, and a V2, which is the engine out speed of 220 knots. The dispatcher comes in with the final figures for departure, and he tells the crew that he has calculated on a taxi fuel burn of about 2 tons. This is later going to turn out to be way too much, but we'll get to that in a second. At time 14:25, everything is ready for departure. The cabin crew has given cabin secure, all of the passengers are seating down, and the flight crew receives their startup clearance. They start up the Concorde engines in sequence 3, 2, and then 4 and 1. And once the startup sequence is complete, they ask for taxi clearance. The runway used on this day is runway 26 right, which is one of the longest runways in Charles de Gaulle. So the air traffic controller asks the Concorde if they are able to take an section takeoff. But given their very high weight, the captain instead asks to get full-length departure, runway 26 right. They receive their taxi clearance to start taxiing down, taxiing Romeo to boarding point, runway 26 right, and at time 14:35 UTC, the aircraft starts moving down toward the point. As they're taxiing out now, the crew continues with their pre-departure operation. As part of that, the first officer realizes that one of the electrical control systems for the rudder keeps jumping out of its primary control system into its backup control system. He comments this to the flight engineer. He says, "Hey, you got the indicators going into green all the time." And the flight engineer responds back to that, yeah, that's true. They discussed this a little bit. They decided to go back into the primary control system anyway, And the flight engineer says that if this problem continues or happens during the takeoff roll, well then we'll just ignore it. This is a dispatchable fault and it's not going to have any flight. During this taxi out as well, about 4 minutes prior to departure, they initiate a fuel transfer from fuel tank 11, which is at the very back of the aircraft, towards the feeder tanks in order to get the center of gravity of the aircraft to 54%, which is a sweet spot for takeoff and landing. This fuel transfer was successfully completed a few minutes prior to departure. At the same time as this is happening, a DC-10 from Continental Airlines is lining up and taking off runway 26 right, the same runway that the Concorde is just about to take off. During the takeoff roll, a short metal strip about 43 centimeters falls off the right-hand engine of the DC-10. There are no indications in the cockpit about this, there's no warnings, and the crew just continues to fly towards the destination. Because this happens only a few minutes prior to the Concorde departure, there are no runway inspections that could have picked this up. In fact, in France at the time, there was only mandated 2 runway inspections per day. The Concorde is now taxiing and getting closer to the holding position on Romeo for runway 26 right, and the captain does a takeoff briefing. Now this is something that we always tend to do, where we do a little bit of a quick summary of the most important points before we depart. And the captain says, so the takeoff is at maximum takeoff weight, 180 tons 100, which means 4 reheats with maximum N2 of 103 and a failure N2 of 98%. Between 0 and 100 knots, I stop for any oral warning and a tire flash. And the tire flash and the call out is coming from you, right? Between 100 knots and V1, I ignore the gong, I stop for an engine fire, a tire flash and a failure call out. After V1, we will continue on the standard instrument departure as we just talked about, and will land back on runway 26 right. So this is a pretty standard takeoff briefing from a captain. It outlines what the crew are expected to do in case of a rejected takeoff.
I didn't realize they got left behind again.
Which in this case in the Concorde is between 0 knots and 100 knots. They basically stop for anything. The gong that they're referring to is what would be equivalent to a master caution warning in a Boeing. It's just an oral warning that some kind of failure has occurred. It might not be a critical failure. And then from 100 knots up to V1, they're a little bit more restrictive because they're now in the high-speed regime of the takeoff. So from that point, they only stop for engine fire warning, failure warning, and in this case also what they call a tire flash. A tire flash is a warning light that comes on if the system feels sudden loss of pressure in one of the tires. Now, in the Boeing that I fly, we do not stop for a burst tire above 80 knots. But in the Concorde's case, it has proven to be a much bigger problem, so it's included in one of those critical failures that they will stop for in the high-speed regime. And above V1, they are committed to the takeoff. So all pilots are trained that after V1, if you would reject at that point, you will do a potentially catastrophic runway excursion. So instead, bring the aircraft into the air, sort out any problem, and in this case, they're discussing coming back to land at a very long runway 26 right again in Paris. But as we're about to learn, the failure that these pilots are about to experience is going to be much more complicated than that. The captain now also asks the flight engineer how much fuel they've used during the taxi, because remember, in the load sheet they had 2 tons calculated. The flight engineer responds with, we've got 800 kilos there. So this would indicate that they're actually using about a ton less of taxi fuel, and since they were already at the maximum takeoff weight using the 2 ton of taxi fuel that they were supposed to use, if they have used a ton less, it means that they're now about 800 kilos above maximum takeoff weight. The flight engineer at this point also says, brake temperature is checked at 150. And the captain asks, is it hotter on the left or the right side? The flight engineer says that it's about the same. And that's going to turn out to be a really important statement for the investigation later on. At time 14:42 UTC, the Concorde was clear to line up and clear for takeoff from runway 26 right. Air traffic control gave them the surface wind of 090 degrees at 8 knots, and the pilot had not calculated with that much tailwind in their performance calculations. If they would have seen that their maximum takeoff weight had now been reduced to 180 tons rather than just about 125 tons. The limiting factor here would have been the Concorde tire speed. Because if you take off with tailwind, it's going to bring you up into a higher ground speed before you get enough airspeed to rotate the aircraft. and in this case, the tire speed would be too high. Later investigation will show that this didn't have a real impact on what happened to this flight, and I also kind of understand it. Being a pilot myself, when you line up, there's a lot of things that's happening at the same time, and if you suddenly get a different wind than what you calculated before, it's easy to miss that, right? But if you're a pilot out there, it is really important actually to take the time and to really think about the wind that you're getting before you start your takeoff roll. From this point onward,
if not, I'm gonna have to have
Paladin
take me. I said, so do you have any day in particular in mind to go down to the Boot Barn, Ross and Gabe's, or whatever combination of that you want?
Sometime this week after I get off work. What day do you have off?
I have to work Wednesday because the truck's coming in on Wednesday and I have to be there for that. So, Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday.
We can go Thursday, probably.
Okay. I don't like the sound of probably, but okay.
Going to happen really, really quickly, and this is where the 121 seconds start. At time 14, 42 and 30 seconds, the captain advances the 4 thrust levels in the cockpit towards takeoff thrust. This causes the 4 mighty Olympus engines to roar into full takeoff thrust with full reheat engaged, and the aircraft starts accelerating down the runway. 24 seconds later, the first officer calls out 100, which is then followed by the flight engineer saying 4 greens. This is indicating that each of the 4 go lights that is associated with each engine is showing that the engine is working normally and that the 4 reheats are engaged. 6 seconds later, the first officer calls out V1, and there's now no return from this takeoff. This is about 35 seconds into this flight. At time 14:43 and 9 seconds, a slight yaw to the left is noted on the flight data recorder. This yaw was not caused by any rudder movement, and at this point, when the aircraft passed about 1,700 meters off the runway, they also found pieces of the water deflector from the left-hand main gear. So this probably represented the time when the Concorde rolled over that metal strip that was left behind by the DC-10 that had departed earlier. Within half a second, noise is recorded on the cockpit voice recorder, and that's likely coming from the explosion of one of the tires on the left main gear bogie. The reason that the investigators thought so was because at this point on the runway they could find the metal strip and also pieces of tire debris. 1 second later, the aircraft has accelerated to a speed of 178 knots, and at this point, that's about 1,810 meters into the takeoff, a change of noise is heard in the cockpit. What has probably happened here is that pieces of the exploded tire have been thrown up towards the underside of the left-hand wing in the area of where fuel tank number 5 is situated. Now those pieces have impacted the wing with such a force that it actually buckled the underside of the wing inwards and the area around that buckle a little bit outwards, causing an enormous pressure wave inside of the tank. And since this tank was at this moment completely full, that pressure wave didn't have anywhere to go except pushing further on the area of the tank next to where this piece impacted, causing a rupture outwards of the fuel tank. And the reason that the investigators think that this is what happened is because they found pieces of the number 5 fuel tank at this position on the runway. But the pieces indicated that the rupture had happened from inside of the fuel tank, not from the outside. The change of noise that can be heard on the voice recorder is most likely coming from the fact that several dozen liters of fuel is now gushing out through this hole from the number 5 fuel tank. And it has gotten into contact with something that caused it to ignite. What caused the fire to ignite and actually sustain itself is something that was greatly discussed in the subsequent investigation as well. But most likely the tire, when it exploded, caused a breakage of some electrical wires in the left gear strut. Now those broken wires then caused arcing that ignited the flame, and the fact that the landing gear was still extended meant that behind the landing gear there was a turbulence zone that allowed the flame to stabilize and maintain itself without being blown out by the airstream. What happens now is that the aircraft start veering towards the left of the runway. The captain counteracts with right rudder to maintain the scent line, and this is not because the engine has started to fail, at least not at this point. Instead, it is likely that this veering movement is coming from the damage made to the left-hand tires, and also because of the aerodynamic drag that the flame is producing behind the aircraft. 2 seconds later, the aircraft is starting to lose thrust on both engine number 1 and 2, so both engines on the left-hand side. In the case of the number 1 engine, it's because it's ingesting a lot of debris from the broken tires, or rubber, things like that, and also quite a bit of hot gases. And in the case of engine number 2, which is the engine that's closest to the landing gear, it is because of ingestion of hot gases. As an engine ingests these gases, it changes the pressure inside of the compressor, and it can lead to compressor stalls, which is what's happening here. So the engine is basically choking on the gases. The first officer now calls out, "Watch out!" quickly followed by the flight engineer calling the exact same thing, "Watch out!" And this is likely because the two control lights for engine 1 and 2 would have extinguished at this point, as they are stalling and not producing the thrust that they're supposed to do. The aircraft is now at a speed of 187 knots, still 8 knots below the rotation speed. But because both engine 1 and 2 have essentially failed at this point, engine number 1 is slowly recovering, but engine number 2 is back at idle thrust. The aircraft is starting to yaw very, very hard towards the left. The captain is counteracting this, but the aircraft is still starting to slightly veer off the center line. We don't know why the captain decides to start rotating at this point. Maybe it is because he feels that he is about to exit the runway. Maybe it is to avoid other traffic that he sees further down on the taxiway. We don't know this. But the fact is that he does start to rotate the aircraft, and he rotates slower than he would normally, probably indicating that he's aware that the speed is not high enough. As the aircraft is rotating, the flight engineer calls out something that sounds like "stop," but it wasn't clear on the voice recorder. But only a second later, he calls out "engine failure, engine number 2." And he's calling only engine failure on engine number 2 because engine number 1 is actually starting to recover from those initial stalls. But as the aircraft continues to rotate and the angle of the nose comes up higher and higher, the airflow changes around the wings, probably causing these hot gases once again to be ingested into both engine number 1 and engine number 2, probably using those secondary engine inlets that we talked about before. And this causes further stalls, which once again reduces the thrust back to near idle on both of these engines. At this point, the first engine fire alarm also can be heard in the cockpit, and the flight engineer responds to that with calling "shut down engine number 2," and the captain responds with "engine fire procedure." As this is happening, the air traffic controller can see this all happening out from his viewpoint in the control tower, and he calls out, "Air France 4590, you have flames trailing behind you." The first officer reads this back. The flight engineer is now doing the engine fire procedure, which means that he is reducing the thrust lever back to idle on engine number 2, and he is also pulling and rotating the engine fire handle. This momentarily removes the fire alarm, as the extinguisher is likely cooling down the engine, but it's soon coming back again because of the fact that the fire is not actually in the engine, it's outside, and the engine fire circuit is just feeling the increase in temperature from the immense fire that is burning outside. While this is happening, and remember, everything that we've covered so far has only taken a few seconds, there's another radio call from an unknown aircraft somewhere on the airport. And the pilot there says on the radio, "It's really burning, eh? And it's burning, and I'm not sure it's coming from the engine," which is going to be very helpful evidence later on to the investigators. The Concorde is now finally airborne, and just before it became airborne, it ran over a few edge lights on the left-hand side of the runway, and the crew now faces the next problem, which is their airspeed. Because they rotated at a slightly lower speed than they normally should have rotated with, they're now maintaining a speed of 200 knots, while their engine out climb speed is 220. This means that with that airspeed, they won't be able to climb or even maintain altitude. And the first officer points it out by calling "speed, speed," several times. Engine number 1 is now recovering slightly, but it's heavily damaged and will never get back up to full thrust again. Engine number 2 has been shut down through the engine fire procedure that the flight engineer has just completed. And engine number 3 and 4 has gone into something called a contingency mode, which is where they are producing as much thrust as they possibly can in order to counteract the loss of thrust on 1 or 2 of the other engines. The Concorde is at an altitude of 100 feet radio with a speed of 200 knots, and they're climbing with about 750 feet per minute. And at this point, air traffic control calls them and says, Air France 4590, you have large flames trailing behind you and you have priority to return back to the airfield. The first officer reads this back, and as he's done so, the flight engineer reminds him to take the gear up. Now, the first officer responds initially no to that, and that's likely because he knows that as a procedure, if there's an indication of a damage to the landing gear, the Concorde is not supposed to retract the gear. But then the captain breaks in and gives a direct order to retract the gear. The first officer tries, but it is evident from the cockpit voice recorder that he is unable to do so. He just cannot seem to get the gear up. The reason for this is likely because of the damage that has been caused by the tire explosion. It might have damaged the landing gear door on the left-hand side, and because of the sequence that the landing gear retraction is supposed to follow, if the landing gear door does not move when it's being commanded to do so, the landing gear will stay out. The captain now turns over to the flight engineer and asks him, are you shutting down engine number 2? And the flight engineer responds with, yes, it is shut down. First officer again calls out, airspeed, speed, and then the gear is not retracting. At time 14, 43 and 55 seconds, the first
this is a frustrating experience.
Roll can be seen on the flight data recorder. This roll likely is caused by the fact that the fire has now been burning for a while and it's starting to melt.
I'm just gonna teleport back.
Inboard elevon on the left-hand side, which is causing flight control problems. Now the captain is trying to counteract this roll, and meanwhile that is happening, the nose of the aircraft is pitching up more and more, and its angle of attack is constantly increasing. The first officer is listening out to the ATC frequency.
As soon as the server restarts.
Charles de Gaulle Tower is talking to the fire leader, who is telling the fire leader that the Concorde is likely going to return back for straight-in landing on the opposite runway. In response to that, he calls out, Le Bourget, and we are going to try for Le Bourget. The engine fire alarm is now back again in the cockpit, and the engine number 1 is surging once again, removing all of the remaining thrust on that side of the aircraft. This further causes the aircraft to roll over to the left, and it gets into, at the worst point, a roll angle of 113 degrees to the left. The GPWS warning system is now sounding in the cockpit as well, saying poop, poop, pull up. And as that is happening, there is indications that the thrust is being moved back on the remaining engines, 3 and 4. This is likely to try to counteract the roll and get the aircraft over to wings level in order to be able to get it to continue to fly. Unfortunately, it is just too late. Only seconds later, at time 14:44 and 31 seconds, the Concorde crashes into a hotel in Gonesse, just west of Charles de Gaulle Airport. As it does so, all 109 people on board the Concorde perishes, together with 4 people in the hotel on the ground. People on board. There was boogie could actually start to wobble up to 3 degrees.
What are you doing? Just sitting on the floor like a fucking schizo.
This was an unspeakable tragedy, and start on the air accident investigation started immediately at the crash site. When the investigators started to go through all of the pieces that was left behind the crash, they very quickly found the left landing gear boogie. And when they examined the landing gear bogie, they realized that there was a crucial spacer missing. The function of that spacer was to keep the alignment of the tires on the landing gear bogie, and without that spacer in place, the bogie could actually start to wobble up to 3 degrees in any direction. Now, could that have actually had an impact on the accident sequence? And also, was there anything that the pilots could have done in order to avoid this accident from happening? I'm going to tell you all about what the accident investigation team found out just after this short message from my supporting sponsors. I want to take this opportunity right now to just thank the sponsor of this episode, which is CuriosityStream. And I love to have them on as sponsors because I know that you guys are watching this episode because you, just like me, love nerding out into a great documentary or a non-fictional story. And that's exactly what CuriosityStream is all about. They are a subscription streaming service with thousands of
videos sets. Out of all the advancements in technology I'm excited for, VR is probably the one I anticipate the most. As the owner of an Oculus Quest 2, I can say firsthand that even in its infancy, VR technology still is quite impressive. Whenever I use it, I really do feel like I'm in whatever virtual space I'm put in. So I know in 10 years, VR technology will be absolutely insane. One of the things I'm hoping comes by then is a software or game that is basically a second virtual life. A full dive where you can just live as whoever you want and interact with people from all around the world through your VR headsets. While we aren't quite there yet, we do
Fucking
have something
stupid. Just
quite
play The
similar.
Sims.
VR Chat.
You fucking
VR
piece
Chat
of
is a
shit.
self-described virtual reality social media platform. It is a massive multiplayer
Just
online
play The
experience
Sims.
where you can interact with other people through your avatars. There are different worlds you can explore, and through your avatar you can actually walk around in there and talk to people like you.
He just went and pulled all that
as
shit.
well as do activities and play games. I find VR Chat to be fascinating because it's the closest thing to my dream of fully immersive virtual space, and it's the first of its
Wonderful.
kind. We haven't seen anything like it before. However, with uncharted territories like this come depths of information just waiting to be uncovered. Today, we will be exploring these interesting aspects of VR in the form of an iceberg video. This video will actually cover entries from 2 separate icebergs found in the iceberg chart subreddit. I think both of them on their own are kind of sparse, but combined they provide a pretty comprehensive look into the depths of VR Chat. One of them was made by Reddit user The Dream Castle, and the other was made by the user Cedar Bear. Cedar Bear asked me to play his YouTube channel, which is called Bear's Audio Emporium. He makes some interesting content, but hey, if you're into that kind of stuff, well, there's a creator who can help you out. I think all of you should know how iceberg videos work by now. I'll cover most of the entries mentioned, but there are some entries that I think are just not interesting or repeat something previously, which I will leave out. It's actually better this way, since I now believe that there are no boring entries in this video, and everything I'll explain will be interesting to learn about. So, without further ado, this is the complete VR Chat iceberg. Brushes refer to an avatar model in the game. These brush avatars consist of a solid color body with a cute anime-style blushing face. There are also 2 giant brushes on the side of their heads, giving them their name. The avatar was popularized by VR YouTuber Paladin, and his fans started to use the avatar. This resulted in a lot of younger children flooding the VR Chat servers using these avatars, which annoyed a lot of regular users. This forced a lot of worlds to ban these brush avatars, because they usually brought little kids in with them, with many questioning why young children were even on a platform like VR Chat. Overall, just a pretty funny situation in my opinion. After my research, I couldn't find anything specific that pertains to VR Chat about e-boys and e-girls, but e-boys and e-girls in general are a new fashion trend that arose among teenagers and young adults in the late 2010s, and during 2020, this whole aesthetic became really popular with teenagers due to apps like TikTok. The look is similar across both boys and girls, with makeup such as eyeliner, lipstick, and black nail polish being applied to the person. There isn't necessarily a specific color set associated with e-boys or e-girls, but stuff like a graphic t-shirt over a solid or striped long shirt can tend to be the norm. There's also always some jewelry on them, whether it be necklaces or piercings or rings. Like the name implies, e-boys and e-girls tend to spend a lot of their time on the internet, and they are the ideal look for basically all young people now. Obviously, this look does take a lot of effort to pull off, so not everybody is able to become an e-boy or e-girl even if they want to. However, this playing field is leveled in the world of VR. The most popular avatars in VR chat by far are e-boy and e-girl anime avatars, which is fitting because they fit with the whole grunge cyberspace aesthetic. Many people use these styles of avatar in VR chat because maybe they can't pull it out IRL. Chris Quick's Reality is a relatively big YouTuber with over 600,000 subscribers. He specializes in VR chat videos, and he is most well known for his series Full Body Trailer in VR chat, where he uses a full body capture suit in bizarre situations IRL to have his avatar do some funky looking movements in VR chat. You have to commend the work he puts into these videos, because I've watched him for this video, and it looks like he actually gets hurt in these situations. I think this iceberg chart entry only refers to his channel, and I hope I'm not missing anything else about him. This has probably got to be the most well-known entry on the list, and I wouldn't be surprised if many people learned about VR chat from this meme. In early 2018, many users with a 3D model of a short and fat Knuckles started to swarm the VR chat worlds. All of them would speak in a mock African accent, often repeating the catchphrase, "Do you know the way?" A bunch of trolls would log into one world and target a single person, swarming them and saying their catchphrase over and over again. There's an interesting story behind why people started to associate the African accent with this weird looking Knuckles, but that's not related to VR chat, so if you want to learn about it, you can look it up for yourself. ROFL Gator is a VR chat YouTuber with around 32,000 subscribers. From what I can see from a glance over his channel, it seems like
my apologies. Hello, do you know how I do trading with bots in this free pack? BCS keeps sucking my loot in dungeons. Because I keep taking my loot in dungeons, I want to trade it back.
He's on this chart because of
usually what I do, like, if they take loot, hold on, let me pause this video. There's been occasions where I'll need roll something, I'll win the roll, but my inventory's full, and they end up looting it. So usually what I do is, for example, this person just won Lifeblood Amulet, right? So you click the bot, and this is the easiest way to do it. I mean, it's basically trading in a nutshell. But this is what you do here. You just do. All right, you don't even put the dot. You just put destroy. Shift click the item. You can do it in party, assuming that's the only person that has that. See, Lifeblood Amulet destroyed, and then you can just add the item to yourself. Make sure you have yourself selected, and that's the best way to do it. It's basically trading, because oftentimes when bots get an item, they will want something in return to trade it to you. So I'm gonna go ahead and give it back to him because I already have it. I hope that helped or answered your question. Like, you could put like master loot on, but then it just wouldn't feel like a, lifelike experience, so to speak. Where the fuck am I? Oh, yeah, I need to go this way. But there are times when things kind of glitch out to where
You don't have a
they
choice.
take something. What?
I said, well, you don't have a choice. I wasn't actually talking to you.
Well, keep your voice down.
I'm surprised you even heard me. Okay, is there any other random clothes that need to be washed?
Why are you asking me?
I'm not asking.
Just quit talking to yourself. Crap. Anyway,
Sorry, Dick.
in case you want to give the bot what it wants, yeah, I prefer, or and in case you want to, oh, so if you want to like do an actual trait, see, I've never done that before, because I keep updating that shit. Are you gonna leave, or are you just gonna fucking stand there?
I was watching you.
Okay, you can watch me on your phone. That's why I'm on YouTube, you know, so you can watch me.
No. I don't have headphones in. It would just echo.
Anyway. Let's see. Let me go ahead, and I'm gonna use you as an excuse to use teleport right here. I'm gonna go ahead and summon the bots. As soon as they load in here. Okay, here we go. So who won this one? Let's see. Let's do... I've never done this before. Or maybe I've done it once, but I don't remember. Let's do that. Oh, it's soulbound now. Okay, it's soulbound, so that's like kind of a bad bad example. Let's where the fuck are they going? Alright, let's do superior healing potion. Oh, they're gonna put all three of them in there. You know, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna say 10 silver for 3 of those. You know, no, we're gonna do 5. And they'll tell you what they want for it. He wants 36 silver and 80 copper for that. So, I'm gonna go ahead and buy it from him because I could use those. So let's try it again. Oh, he wants 5 more. Okay, that's how much more he wants for it. So... I'm gonna go ahead.
May your generosity be returned to you 100-fold.
My inventory's full, so it would have worked. Well, one other thing you could do is, like, you could just give them a blank trade and see what they want for it, like the whole amount. And they use the auction house now, actually. In the most recent update, they added that functionality.
What do you want?
So if you like go to the auctioneer here, let's just go do armor. See how it's like there's no name by the seller? That's because that's the auction house bot. But every once in a while, see, those are actual bot names now. Anymore? No. There's probably a lot for trade goods though. Oh, there's a couple. This is a new feature, so it's probably something that's going to be worked on more to where they because bots don't grind for materials quite as much, and they don't do dungeons by themselves to my knowledge because they're incapable of doing the dungeons. If they were high enough level, they could probably do like the first half of the dungeons of the game because it doesn't really require much in terms of mechanics. But I was really excited when I saw them using the auction house. So that's gonna be a cool new feature once they get that ironed out. It almost makes you want to turn off the auction house bot on my next character playthrough.
Without a doubt.
I don't know if I want to reset the instance. I need to sell some shit. So I'm trying to grind the sword that combines with what I have here. What does it form? Soul Thrays. I'm gonna look this one up. See if it's even worth trying to get. That's good. But it's still a two-handed sword. And I don't want a two-handed sword, so I might actually be better off with what I have. Oh, one of my bots got killed by the bruisers. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and give up grinding that. I'm gonna go do this distress call quest.
Jameski is a big YouTuber with over 1 million subscribers. His videos on VR chat are really popular, with a lot of them getting millions of views. His series, VR chat in a nutshell,
Did my server crash again? Yes, it did. Oh, now I'm just gonna teleport there. That's the two excuses I have to use GM commands when somebody wants to see something, and when my server crashes and I need to make up the time. What's that place called? Airy Peak. Okay. And I still have all that shit in my inventory.
Well met.
You got my attention.
How much did my repair cost? It was like 80 something silver. Right? 60 silver. We're just gonna say 60 silver. So there's 16. There's 30. There's 43. And there's that. Everything else. I'm just gonna sell everything else. It's an honor system thing, so I gotta kinda abide by that as best I can. Oh, I should probably dot repair my stuff. So I'm probably gonna do this escort quest here. And then I'm gonna get off here for probably the night, because I'm gonna go play on my Oculus. No, not on vanilla yet. I'm kind of alternating back and forth between the free versions. I've only done dungeons. I know, I think it was the Wrath War that had the bugged Ragnaros fight, but I don't know about any of the other cores as of yet, personally. And percentage of my bots active, I want to say it's 90%. Pretty sure that's what I have it set at. Also, this whole bug with the bots that just randomly stop following. I have mages now that will just randomly stop attacking. I don't know exactly what happened for sure, but I just noticed that I died and I looked at my mage bot and they're sitting there with 3/4 mana. They're not doing anything. So, from experience, I know when a bot's not doing anything, you hit follow or you hit attack and the bot will start doing something. And that fixed it, but it's still kind of annoying bugs that pop up every now and again. It's like every time they bring out a cool new feature, something old breaks. But, you know, it's the way it is sometimes, I guess. It's not like they're AAA game developers. And they're, you know, I'm paying $70 a pop to play a buggy mess or anything like that, so. At 3,500 is about as high as I can go with 90%. I get lag spikes every now and again at 35. 33,000's buttery smooth. I never lag once, but I like to have as many bots as possible. I only have like a Ryzen 2600X and 32 gigabytes of RAM and a Vega 56, but the graphics card doesn't really have anything to do with it. I'm also playing this or the server and my Windows are off of my NVMe SSD. The game itself is running off of a hybrid HDD. I've actually been thinking about buying like one of those little small computers. They got ones out. They got like a Ryzen 4600 or 4650U with like 16 to 32 gigabytes of RAM and just this little itty bitty computer. And I was thinking about loading my server on that. That way I don't have to have it running on the same PC I'm using to stream and play the game. Streaming from your graphics card takes a load off of it though. It just kind of sucks because I'm using AMD's codec and it's not very good, but it's whatever. I try to heighten up the bitrate a little bit to compensate. No, I should probably just do this. I never realized how much better proc paladins were once you got Holy Shield. Things just literally killed themselves on you. Like, I still remember playing this guy before I got Reckoning, and that was just atrocious. It was the slowest leveling in my life. And then I got Reckoning, and it sped up a little bit. And then what else did I get that helped a lot? Actually, that was probably it until I got Holy Shield. Wish the one in Tarnaris was as easy as this one is. I need the drink though. I'm gonna run ahead of him a little bit. Okay. See, a little bit of a lag spike there, but it's not unplayable by any stretch. I'm sure I'm probably going to come and do a raid eventually where the lag spikes get to be too annoying, but I mean, I don't take this super seriously. I mean, I am playing with bots, it'd be kind of hard to take something like that seriously. I click every spell on the top row of my action bar. That's how not serious I am right now. Sometimes I click these ones. I just don't feel like moving my fingers around that much. I'm not playing Quake. I don't want to be doing that, you know. There. I'm pushing buttons. Ooh, more stuff. The only time I have like a lot of lag with these cores is when I start all the bots at level 1 and I'm doing like a brand new character and everybody's in the starting zone And it's not even really frame rate lag, it's like server side lag. Because I guess it's optimized in such a way to where when bots aren't around, I'm not getting, the server's not dealing with them as much as it does when they're closer. Which is cool. It's a nice way to optimize things if that's the case. I like how they're just starting to walk away now. It's funny. Yeah, you know, it's like, I never understood how people could take PvE in World of Warcraft seriously. But, you know, whatever. I'll display sync. Like every time I see news from Reeetail, whether it's from Classic or from the newest expansion or whatever, I immediately just say to myself, man, I'm glad I played this. I'm glad I don't have to deal with that bullshit. Because they pretty much eliminated the leveling experience from the game entirely. Like they brought it back in Classic, and then they eliminated it in Classic by just giving everybody like double XP or XP boosts or whatever. And if your MMO doesn't have a good leveling experience, which Classic does, Wrath does, Burning Crusade does, Cataclysm does to an extent, then it's just a shit game. And if you're just telling everybody like, hey, you know, you're too lazy to play 90% of our content, so here's a leveling boost, so now you can finish the game and the other 10% of the game and complain that there's no content, even though you skipped 90% of it because you paid us, you know, 30-40 bucks so you could skip it. It's like, why even make the game at that point if people are just gonna ignore everything that you did and bypass it? I don't know, I could rant about that forever. It's so stupid. I personally like leveling. In fact, I still think about going through here with my GM powers and making entire zones, like in Mount Hyjal, adding in some NPCs, or like Emerald Dream, you can go there, make it like a playable zone or something. Are you an elite? No, well, fuck you. I know, I like it too. Like the talent tree and everything. Like you start off, everything's just awful. Like proc paladins are a perfect example. You're literally awful. Like you're only as good as your armor, and that's just so it lets you outlive whatever you're trying to kill, because you're doing shit damage. And then, you know, you get leveled up and you get your reckoning, and it's just like, okay, I'm doing a little bit more damage now, and it's awesome, and I love it. And then you get your holy shield, and you're just like, wow, I'm doing a lot of damage now. I could AoE grind if I wanted to.
Inventory is full.
But instead, people get their level, let's say 58 boost. They throw all their talents in according to what some no life chode on the internet designated to be the designated as the best talent trees. They just put all their points in there, and then they go and they do like 5 raids, and then they're like, man, this game's boring. See, that's the thing though, because I've tried making Hyjal an outdoor raid just by adding in bosses and shit. But the problem with that is there's a lot of bosses that if they go to engage you outside of their instance, it crashes the server. Lich King, Onyxia, I think Nefarian. Like I was actually like just gonna make Hyjal like this all-star raid boss raid zone, and it didn't work, so I don't know. I think it's because all those bosses, their code relies a lot on mechanics within their instance. So if something's not there and the script is trying to trigger it, the server just says, "Oh, I give up." I know Kel'Thuzad, he actually doesn't do anything when you attack him. If you just spawn him, he just doesn't do anything. Illidan doesn't do anything. But he just sits there. Yeah, I could do that. I've been playing the game as Blizz-like as possible. With minor exceptions, such as adding in unobtainable mounts, adding Ashbringer into the loot table, just things like that. But I do eventually want to go through and re-edit everything. Though it seems like, and you can correct me if I'm wrong here, but it seems like I'll edit the database, and there'll be a patch, a server patch, and it will just undo everything I did, and I'll have to go through and do it again. Is that the case, or does that depend on the patch? Oh yeah, if you go in GM mode, in a lot of instances, you'll see like a lot of random doodads that are in there that are just basically game triggers and events. I gotta fly all the way to Booty Bay. Like, look how, this is how I'm doing this. Like, I'm literally only doing one quest at a time. This is bugged. I don't know why it's bugged or how it got bugged, but this is bugged. I turn this in all the time, and I log in, and I got the quest again. Like, I don't understand that. So I just keep abandoning it. I don't know why I keep getting it. Oh shit, I'm going the wrong way. It might have been something from a recent version of the server, and it's been fixed recently, but it's stuck. Like, I'll log out and I'll log in or restart the server, and I guarantee you it'll be right back there. Yeah, that's why I try not to do too much. Like if I'm just adding something to a loot table that, you know, that only takes a second to do. It's not complicated. You just find the object ID for like the chest and the horseman chest, and you can put whatever you want in there at whatever percentage loot drop, and then that's all there is to it. I've never really edited spells too much, except for I've edited I think I've edited aggro for druids. Some of their spells I've edited the aggro pull for them. And I edited spell power ratios for Lich King on some spells. Just because I thought they were ass and could be better. You know, that's a fantastic idea. I'm gonna do that right now, actually. I don't know why I didn't think of that. $36.81. I got a long flight anyway, so I might as well just do it. TBC characters, TBC character quest status. Wait, what's my character name? 9003. Looking for 3681. I've had to re-add when I actually brought my and my wife's characters over from another Wrath of the Lich King core, and I had to re-add everything manually using Heidi SQL. That was a pain in the ass. I don't think I would ever recommend doing that again. Because the server we were on was just terrible. The hunters were bugged. They couldn't summon their own pets. It was pretty bad. 3681 status. Rewarded, explored. Status 1 would mean completed. Rewarded 1 would mean... Hold on, let me look at this. Yeah. Basically, server cores, their backup files aren't compatible with other server cores, so I had to do everything manually. I'm just glad I was able to do that, because I have a level 60 something no warlock, and she has a level 60 something hunter, and we really didn't want to lose our progress. And I was just happy I finally got her to play with me, and that we fucking were about to lose everything or stay on the server we were on, but the server we were on was shit. So I made the executive decision. At first we were gonna wait until we were 80 and we did everything, and we were gonna switch servers, but I decided, you know, I'm gonna go ahead and do it early, and it was a lot of work. And you don't want your, you know, you don't want tunes on a completely different core, because that means you have to keep that on your computer. I'd rather just get rid of it. Alright, what was I already abandoned it. Oops. Hey, just in time. We were just talking about you. We got Dingledork here. He's from the SPP Discord. And
What that is?
just tell him it was a single player
single
project. Yeah. Why is the door open? But yeah, I was telling him how I had to manually back up our characters onto the server core, and it was horrible. You know, it's not so bad. Like if you have two level 17s and you just need to like bring them over real quick, it's usually not a problem. But when you're level 68 and you have all those quests completed, you could do without the quest completion, but you still have things like reputation, skills,
Item inventory.
fucking for inventory. Money.
Mm-hmm.
Can't get.
Gotta make sure you back that shit up regularly, multiple times in different places.
Just delete the row? You think so? You know what? Let's try that, see what happens. See, the problem is there's Tome of Divinity. And then there's the Tome of Divinity. And I think the Tome... Okay. In 1641... Let me see if I have that. Yep, I have both quests. The precursor and the one after that. So yeah, I'm probably just gonna delete the one after that. I'll delete the row. Lady?
Yeah.
Can you like... I need personal space.
I'm married. I'm married.
COVID. I need 6 feet.
I'm married to you. You get no personal space. Especially since I just brought you a beer and you didn't give me a kiss.
All you had to do is ask.
I shouldn't have to
Making
ask.
you're making a big production out of it.
I'm gonna make a big production out of the days. I'm gonna go smoke.
You're gonna go smoke? You know what? I still gotta fly halfway across the fucking continent, so I'm gonna go smoke too. Well, I'm thinking if I delete them both again, because apparently they're not a prerequisite to anything. Like, I was kind of worried that they would be, like, for, like, Paladin spells or whatever, but apparently they're not. So it's just an XP sync is all it is, but I'll be back. I'm gonna go smoke. We don't smoke in the apartment.
Sure thing. Certainly.
Indubitably.
I also like I can start my own events whenever I want. I didn't realize that the Girabashi Arena chest, that was actually like an event. I didn't realize. I just thought that was something that was programmed into the game. And because it didn't spawn in vanilla, and somebody had said, I think it was you maybe, that said to All you gotta do is start the event, and it'll spawn. Which I'll probably end up doing, but I look at the loot that has, and it's not really. We got a T-posing bot here, did you see that? Is this the World of Warcraft Definitive Edition? Is that what this is? Where is this dude? Place is a maze. In here? There we go.
Pleased to meet you.
4 more stamina for... No. No, but I'm definitely gonna sell them. Ooh, inventory's full. Hold on here. Let me get rid of my bone.
Seeing you. Yo!
Also, it did troll the hell out of me that frost armor procs bruisers to kill you. Because I'd be like riding around as my mage, I'd have frost armor on, and there'd be horde chasing me into like Booty Bay. And then the bruisers just straight up come out and kill me. I never knew that until recently either. It's pretty trolly. But it's understandable. Not even a complaint. If that's actually in the retail game, it's perfectly understandable. So, I don't want to do any quests here. I saw a quest somewhere. Where was it? It was over by Iron Forge, but I'm not flying all the way back there.
Time is money, friend.
I have noticed that the bots don't try to 1v1 him anymore. Because literally in 2.29, I could be out here waiting for a boat and I would see like 8-9 bots. By the time the boat came, they would all just go out there one at a time. And you would just see them like 2-shot in level like 20s. I have no idea what that was about. Actually, you know what I'll do? I will find a bot that's close-ish to my level. Let's do him. And we'll go ahead and do that priest, that hunter, and that warrior. And the warrior, I believe, is Tarnaris. Oh, he hearthed. Okay. Well, I want to see something because I haven't really messed with this since the update. Summon. Follow. I'm gonna go ahead and give this guy party leader. It's a lot of bots. Alright, we're gonna follow him around here. I'm gonna see what he's doing. Where'd he go? Or what quest does he have? Okay. Oh, I should probably mount. That might make it easier. And this is kind of a weird bug that bots are doing here. They keep summoning their mounts, and and then they just unsummon them. Like, I don't know what that deal is. Sometimes they try to do it indoors, and it immediately unsummons, and they try to do it again. But apparently it just happens outdoors everywhere. I don't know what that's about. So he's not really telling me what he's doing. But he's been walking back and forth. I bet you $100 he's going to this donation quest. How'd I guess that? Eh? Alright, I already lost track of him. Where is he? Oh, they're over here. Okay, he accepted that quest. And apparently this is a problem with a lot of them, because it seems like 10% of the bot population in this town is like stuck in this mount loop.
How are you? Have a good one.
I kind of wish that they coded it to where the bots pick one quest and they just do it. Like, once they just program to where once they have one quest, they ignore all their quest giving NPCs and they go, they either do the quest or they do other shit like grind or repairs or auction or whatever. Because I think that would cut the downtime of them just wandering around the town by a lot. That's just my opinion. And that would actually make them more efficient at leveling than they are now because they spend a lot of time just wandering around. And that way you could also start going through each individual quest that the bots have trouble with, and you could either maybe make it to where they ignore that quest or they auto-complete it somehow, or I never even realized that barrel was there. These bots are finding objects to loot that I never even knew existed. It's crazy. Yeah, it happens in Ironforge too. It's the only other place I've seen it. Because I mean, look at all this. Like, look at all these quests they have. They're not doing any of them. Most of them are gray. Like, I just think it's just my opinion, but I think it should just be as simple as they get quest, they go to quest, they grind on the way to quest. Like, if something is in, like, have like a, I'm pretty sure they have a grind radius. Anything that's within their grind radius while they're traveling to and from, they kill, unless it's gray. And then they just go do the quest, they come back, and they go to whatever is the nearest quest giver after that point. See, I don't know where he's going. Doesn't even tell me. That's another thing I don't like, is that you have no idea where they're going. Like, I want to follow them, but I don't know, so I have to sit here and wait and just teleport to them. And I don't think he's told me what he's doing at all since I started this party. Oh, no, he told me he was getting some milk. But he is going to do something now. That's for sure. And see debug. Now, do I have to have a bot selected when I do that? How does that work? I've never used this before. Oh, I whisper them. Okay. Should just have like a bot command that says, "Hey, what the fuck you doing?" The guy's got some sass. Is it because he's on a flight? That might be why. Because they don't respond to anything when they're either eating, drinking, or on a flight path. They don't respond to anything. So I'm just gonna wait for him to land. He's probably going to Ironforge, maybe? I don't know. Here, let me just try like a random bot over here. I'm sure I could find one real quick. It should work on. Oh wait, yep, right here, right here, right here. Check mount state, world buff. That's all great and fine and dandy, but I want to know what you're actually doing. Oh, I hit party. That's right. Hold on, hold on, hold on. We're gonna try that again. Oh. Oh, I have to hit minus debug. Hold on here. Okay, that shut him up. All right, whisper, NC plus debug. Move to travel target, but he's not specifying what target. He's checking his mount state, but he's not mounting. Or wait. Yeah, mount state 0. Far from travel target. Maybe he didn't mount because he was going back to the flight path? I don't know. What is his travel target though? That's the thing. Wait, I probably have some stuff I can mine out here while I'm waiting. I keep going the long way. I don't know why I keep doing that, but I do. When I could just come over there and go left at the fork. Okay, he landed somewhere. He's still not mounting. Is it because he's in a party that he's not mounting? Is he gonna use the boat? There we go. Ah. Well, yeah, he's party leader, but I'm wondering if he's like not mounting because he's in a party in general. But you would think he would act kind of as a solo bot because he's party leader and just do whatever, and everybody else just follows him. He's probably gonna go back to. Yep, he's going back to Gadgetan. I already know it. I'm just gonna fly there. Yep. Because that's where he was. And then he hurt the Stormwind. Yeah. Also, I noticed something here. Like if you look real quick, and this is like this with all the boats, they come like really close to the dock, and they actually clip through the ramp. And if you come up here, the whole model is like off center. Like this net is off center. I mean, it's not a big deal. Obviously, it still works, but I just don't know why that is. And it's been like that for the longest time. I can't even, probably since I started playing on the score forever ago. Did he land yet? No. No, I spelled that wrong. I don't know why he went this way. Oh, they're doing it here too. And then the server crashed. I've been getting a few crashes lately, actually. It's like the third time today. And the thing that's supposed to auto restart the server doesn't seem to work anymore. Oh, pardon that. Ads.
I need to make a dinner.
Sure.
Love you.
Love you too.
I'm making chicken and cream mushroom rice again. Because that's just how it ended up.
Whatever. Bye-bye.
I need healing.
Well, they pissed somebody off. Why is this happening? You know, we're just gonna let him come back to his body. Or you know what? No, we're gonna do this. Hold on. Where is he? Should see him in spirit form here. Okay, they're not doing it now.
I need healing. Heal me, please.
I don't know what that's about.
I need healing.
Oh, he's doing something. Or maybe not. Oh. Looks like he's having a pathfinding issue now. I don't usually hang out with bots this much, basically, because things like this happen. They used to be, like, really good. I don't know what happened. I used to be able to follow, like, a bot around, and they would do, you know, so many quests, and they would grind, and I don't know if they added something, and it broke everything, or what, but that's just, like, why I think things just should be simpler with how bots perceive the quests. They would probably level at the speed of like a super casual player if they just did one quest at a time. Mm. Yeah, like he's pretty much stuck right now. Oh. Well, I'm gonna try to do that escort quest again, I think. Or maybe I tried doing that on my mage, I can't remember. I believe he's right over here. Alright, I'm probably gonna do this escort quest. And then I'm probably gonna get off here. What do you got, like a resting bitch face or something going on?
Because the fucking dryer's not taking my quarters.
What kind of animal made those prints? One-legged leopard. Wouldn't a one-legged leopard be like a leopard? Or like a hoppard? That's right, attack me. Need the drink, need the drink, need the drink. A leopard, like a retarded leper. Leopard. No. Oh, he got it off, motherfucker. I'm over here playing chicken with the glass hide gazer, seeing who will stun who first. I should probably get a little bit ahead and then drink again. Oh shit. So what's the word?
What?
The dryer.
I quartered in here.
Oh.
I had to cycle through every last one of them, and that was the last quarter.
Very nice. Walk a little bit ahead, drink again. At first I thought this wasn't working. This right here. Because I was using it in ZF. And apparently it was working, it's just the shield was getting popped with like the instant after it procced. So that makes sense.
I can't cast that yet.
Oh, I got him that time. Pretty sure we're gonna get mauled by a bunch of scorpions here in a second. Oops. It's not what I meant to push. Really don't want to go into an ambush with no mana. Because I know it's coming. Pretty sure there's at least two, and the first one was back there, and the next one's gonna be up here somewhere. Yep, here we go. A little laggy.
I need to get closer.
Come on. It's usually laggier as the bots are repopulating. Are they done repopulating? No, they're still repopulating. Like how there's just a random warlock over here. You know, another thing that I might do, because my biggest problem with WoW isn't like the end game content, it's the early game content. Because I enjoy leveling, but there's only like 3 3.5 routes that you can take from level 1 to like level 60. So what I might do is I might take a bunch of unused zones, like, I don't know, Mount Hyjal, maybe even Moonglade. I might actually make that a leveling zone of some kind. I don't know. I don't know how. I'm gonna fuck this guy up. It's just not gonna do anything. Hunters are still doing this, by the way, where they just don't attack. I mean, he's attacking now, but... And they also, feign Death Cycle a lot. Like, if he's a Beastmaster hunter, I can completely understand not doing anything and letting your pet do all the work, but... I don't know. Now, can you make quests via, like, Heidi SQL, or is it something more complicated than that? Oh, look at me, I'm a bot going the long way. Oh.
Hello. See you soon.
So how do you make quests? You just, like, add a row and... Hold on. Let me look, because I can probably figure out what you're doing if I just look at it. It wouldn't be under characters, it would be... Mangoes. Game event, game object. Quest giver greeting, quest template. Required skill, require level. Rip objective value. Next quest in chain. Hold on, let's go to an obvious one here. Eastern King, or no, Elwyn Forest. There we go. Let's go to Cobalt camp cleanup. There we go. Gotta kill 10 vermin. Quest number 3. Or number 7. I apologize. Entry number 7. Method 2. Whatever that is. We gotta kill 10 kobolds. Oh. Cross flags 8. That doesn't tell me anything. Acquired item count. Acquired item ID. Ooh, I see that. Acquired source ID. Required creature or gold. Required creature or gold 2. Number 6. So is he number 6? Sure as fuck is. And then you go over here to the count and you put 10. And then you can just type in your own text right here. In your own objective details right there. Shit, that'd only take a second. I mean, if you're adding like rep and all that, I would probably just be putting in gold and XP. I wouldn't even be putting level requirements or anything like that because it would just be based on the whatever mobs. That's actually super simple. And I'm sure there's like a shit ton of unused NPCs that I could just plug in too. How fucking dare you? I'm gonna miss my boat because of that shit. Yep. Be damned if I'm missing my fucking boat, bro. Oh yeah, the NPCs, yeah. Keep forgetting I can't mount here in Burning Crusade. I gotta talk to the same guy again, I'm assuming. Looked like he was wearing like a jacket or something.
Greetings.
Is this better than what I have? Block rating by 10. Everything sucks about it except everything I do involves blocking.
You have a great day now.
I'm gonna equip it. Oh.
Go with honor.
Let's see if there's anything good in the auction house. I have like 20 gold to spend here. It's probably not going to be anything better than what I have in terms of sword, though. Yeah, definitely not. Armor, plate. I'm not gonna do that. I will do those though.
Of course.
That's 17 gold. No, I'm not gonna do those.
Of course.
I do like all the resistance from this though. You know what? Fuck it. And that's a really good helmet. Too bad I'm broke.
Indubitably.
Nothing wrong with having some resistance. And I'll go ahead and turn around and I'll sell what I just unequipped. Maybe see if I can afford that helmet. I don't use the auction house to sell things. I feel like it's cheating because the bots seem to buy stuff no matter what you post it for, so. I deleted that quest and it's there again. It's whatever. Part of me wants to go fight that dude. I'm gonna try it. I don't know how much health he has. But I'm going.
That spell is ready.
I don't think this is gonna work. Oh, I don't have that on. That's part of the reason I'm taking so much fucking damage. Now I'm out of mana. Almost. If I would have had my Righteous Fury on, I probably could have did it. Think I might actually just try again here. Except I won't have my lay on hands. Yeah, I'm probably not gonna try again. What's your divine plea do? You know, this is a swim nobody likes to make right here. So you know what? Oh, is it like the opposite of lay on hands or something? Gives you like all your mana and 300 health or something? 250 health? Oh, okay. I almost think that should be a spell though. Like just make a lay on hands but have it do the opposite effect. That'd be kind of broken though because you could just lay on hands, get really close to death, and then use your other ability to get all your mana back, plus 250 health, so you could then like shield yourself, full heal. And yeah, that'd be pretty broken, actually. You could just live forever at that point. Debating on where I want to quest right now. What's the entrance to the Searing Gorge? Where is that? That's over here, isn't it? You know what? Let's go to the Searing Gorge. Oh, I keep forgetting. I can't fucking. It's killing me. I probably haven't leveled there in forever. So I'm thinking instead of, like I said, instead of making these outdoor raids, make them like normal leveling zones. Put some shit in Moonglade so there's like something to do there. Because there's mobs that you can kill there. It's just there's no quest for them. Could also I'll go over it when I'm on my flight path. I went the long way, I know. I have a really bad habit of going the long way in this game.
Yo. Interest ya in a pint?
Sure thing.
This would probably be quicker if I went here. Oh, that doesn't sound too bad. Anyway. If this was a zone, a leveling zone, it would probably... I don't know, like... See, the problem with if you make these two zones leveling zones, number one, there's no actual organic way to get in here without using a GM command. I mean, you can hop, you know, parkour your way up there, but that takes forever. In Moonglade, you can't really get here unless you are either a druid or you get reputation with the fucking Timber Mall hold or whatever it's called. I think that's what it's called. So this would almost need to be like a level... See, this is 45 to 55, isn't it, Felwood? I'm pretty sure. So this would almost need to be like a level... These would almost need to both be like level 60 zones. Alright, you know, I'll tell you what. I already paid for this. Or, you know, I'm not going to teleport there. I can just look it up. Zones. Moonglade, level 15 zone. NPCs. Well, you have Omen, but that's a holiday thing. You have Deer. There's Deer in Moonglade. And that's it. I would have to actually add NPCs at that point. If I wanted to do that. I figured there was more shit to kill there than that, but I guess not. So Moonglade's probably out of the question. I don't know. I could probably spawn some NPCs that give more XP? I don't know. That wouldn't pass, could use some quests. Or maybe put up some quests in like those those areas you can't go to, like the Dwarven airfield and the that place in Elwyn Forest. It's like right here. I don't know. It doesn't really solve the problem of having multiple leveling routes, though. Yeah, probably. I think that would probably help more in vanilla than Burning Crusade, because in vanilla it's such a bitch to hit 60 because the XP tiers are different. So making Moonglade a leveling zone in vanilla would be really good for that, I think. So maybe Hyjal should just be a raid. I don't know. There's plenty of unused NPCs I could put in and just have it be the raid boss. I'll probably start actually doing this once I hit like 58, 59 on my mage in vanilla. And I'm at that point where I need to hit 60. There needs to be like, there's only like one raid you can do in vanilla without being 60, and that's ZG, I think, or ZA. I don't remember which it is. But it'd be nice to have another non-level 60 raid that you could do. Like another 20, 25 man. Or maybe like a level 15 raid. Because why not, you know? Or like a level 30 raid. That'd be sick. I can make a Mount Hyjal raid, and the boss is the one that can drop the Ashbringer. That's what I should do. I don't think that's lore friendly though, but you know, whatever. Who cares? The only way it's lore friendly is if I make Ashbringer like something that you can get while you're fishing over by Stratholme. That's like the only way I could make that lore friendly, and that's just dumb. I don't feel like doing that at all. I'll be right back. I'm gonna get another beer. Okay, my dinner is ready, so I'm gonna get the searing gorge here, and then I'm just gonna get off. Lesser Morgaine and Outland. And there's also the Emerald Dream. I could make that a leveling zone. Well, there's Emerald Dream, and then there's the Emerald Forest. I could make both of those a leveling zone. I would have to establish like a lore-friendly way to get there, though. Like, I would want to be able to walk to something, even. Well, I could probably script teleporter of some kind, but I don't. I don't want to go through the effort when I can just GM command it. Oh, I forgot about this.
What can I do for you? Keep your feet on the ground.
Oh, I completely forgot about that. It's just convenient here, or convenient because I haven't changed my home for like ever now. For like at least 10 levels, it's probably been the same home. I don't need any more 10. I'm loaded to the gills on 10. Could go for some more copper though. Maybe make GM Island a raid. I don't know how to get. I know there's like a developer's aisle, but I don't know how to. I don't know how to get there. I don't know what the what I would put in for Telly. I'm not about to go down there just for copper vein. Not happening. Oh, you're right. I could do that. There's probably something I don't even know about. The thing about Vanilla and Burning Crusade is if it's that far away, you might as well walk because mounting actually takes a second. To be fair, if you were pulling a leopard out of your pocket or bag or whatever, it probably would take a second. So what is this guy doing? He's casting something. I don't know what he's casting. So what are, that you know of, what are some raid boss fights that are impossible to do with bots, such as Cthulhu, Twin Emperors, etc.? Ragnaros seems doable with bots. Nefarian, it was on a completely different core, but it wasn't too hard with bots. I never fought Onyxia. The suppression room sucks with bots. They should probably fucking change that. Honestly, so there needs to be a change for that because it is it's not doable at all with bots. Like you just can't. You would have to be a rogue to make that work, and it doesn't work. Chromagus, I don't know, I never really had a problem with that one. I've had more problems with Ragnaros than I did him, I'm pretty sure. I did that once, but it still happened. I don't remember. It must have been on a different server core. I don't know. Look at all these fucking horde bots. There's supposed to be a back way in here. I'm not seeing it. Maybe it's further down over here. This might be it right here. Yep. This is it. I know the one room in Black Rock Mountain where you have, like, it's that big giant room and it's like full of mobs. I actually had to delete some of the mobs from that to make it doable because the bots could not help themselves but to pull more than they should have. Is Ilden doable with bots?
It's been like 7 minutes. Are you coming?
Yeah, I'm coming. Is it on the table?
Yeah.
Okay.
You asked me if it was almost done, and I said, yeah, plating it now.
Alright, let me get to somewhere where I won't get killed by something. Gotta leave combat. Okay. Alright, well, I'm getting off here. Always that save, ladies and gentlemen.
And
It's
then
like
export.
it's like rewinding when you rent a video from Blockbuster.
Always not save and export.
You always no, it's not export.
Why not?
That was a different core. You always save, and then you always use your save manager, and you always save there. Very important. I keep 3 running saves.
Just in case one becomes corrupt.
I guess it is technically exporting, so you're not wrong. All right. Well, thanks for stopping by, Dingledort. It was like, yeah, Dingledort, Dingledort. It's nice talking to you and picking your brain about stuff. Really enlightened me on a few things, and I appreciate that. So,